You have no money, but you want to start a podcast. Let's talk about it. What's up, pod influencers? My name is Ozil, and I want to welcome you to the Podcast Influence YouTube channel, where I help you amplify your influence with podcasting. On this channel, I'm going to share with you tips, insights, and strategies on how to pro up your podcast with style and influence. All right, here we go. So if this is your first time, by the way, please, if you're digging the content along the way, you can always hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you can be first in line to get the content. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff, because today I'm going to share with you 4 tips on how to launch your podcast with no dinero, no money. So let's face it, a lot of people, especially during these times, they're bootstrapped. They don't have a lot of money. They know microphones and mixers and all the gadgets can be quite pricey. So you got to be resourceful, and you got to think about, how can I start this podcast, if I have no money? So I'm going to share with you some 4 tips on how to get you started. Let's get right to it. All right, tip number 1, numero uno, bartering. Okay, you can barter your skill sets in exchange for some studio time. For example, there's a lot of co-working spaces that are now launching their own podcast studios. Even there's some music studios that have podcast equipment available. So what you can do is make a list of some skill sets. Let's say you are really good at social media marketing, and you can go to a studio, co-working space, and ask them, hey, I can help you with your social media marketing in exchange for a few hours a week for recording studio time. This allows you to leverage your skill set in exchange for studio time. I actually had a friend of mine who did that. He went out to a co-working space and said, can I use 2 hours of your time, and I can help you out with your Instagram. And that's what he did, and he got 2 hours a week. So think about, again, how to be resourceful, leverage your skill sets to get in the door so you can start your podcast. Tip number 2, numero dos. I don't know why I decided to go bilingual, but I guess we're gonna have a little fun and go Spanglish on this one. So tip number 2, collaboration. Go in a podcast group, go to Reddit, find a community where you can ask somebody, hey, does anybody need a co-host? You can collaborate with somebody who is looking for a co-host that has the podcast equipment you need to get started. So there's a lot of people that are looking for great co-hosts. And if you bring value to the table and say, hey, I'm ready to go, where can I plug in and start recording? You can find an opportunity where you have a podcast that's ready to go and you have equipment that you don't have to spend money on. So take that tip. Collaboration is powerful. Get in these groups and get in the mix, like literally in the mix. Tip number 3, numero 3, is my favorite, the side hustle. Okay, side hustling is one of the ways that I got started. I was able to do private event bartending to help me save money to invest in equipment, okay? And there's places like DoorDash, gigs like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, Lyft, you name it. There are a ton out there. You could just do a Google search and start side hustling so you can start saving money to invest in equipment. Now, I know this video is about how to start a podcast with no money, and you're being resourceful, but start thinking about the future. And I can't think of a better way than to start saving cash for your podcast equipment than a good old side hustle. And last but not least, tip number 4, numero 4, that is, to kind of close it out with the Spanglish here, is Anchor.fm. You have a cell phone, right? And that's all you need to get started. A lot of the clients that come to me and say, hey, I want to start a podcast, but I don't have a lot of money. I don't want to spend a lot of time in learning all of the gadgets to get started. My suggestion, Anchor.fm. All you need is to download the app, You can record, publish, and distribute your podcast all over to all the major podcatchers simply by using this app. So if you want to get started, you have no money, try out anchor.fm. All right, so that's it. Hopefully this video brought you some value and gave you some insight on creative ways to look at podcasting from a resourceful mindset. We have to be creative. You have to use your resources and leverage the skill sets you have to get started. You don't have to spend any money to start podcasting, so no excuses, whether it's just starting with your cell phone or bartering, collaborating with other podcasters. You can launch your podcast with no money. So the question of the day, let me know, what is one creative idea that you have for launching a podcast with no money? All right, so leave it in the comments section down below. And listen, I'm really enjoying this process. I talked about this before. Every single video, I'm looking for ways to empower you, to encourage you, to challenge you in leveling up your podcast or launching your podcast. So if you are enjoying this YouTube channel and all the content, please consider subscribing, hit the notification button. I'm gonna be experimenting with different styles of videos, maybe just me in a park or me in a car or just me in front of just, a couch hanging out at home. So hopefully you guys are getting some value out of it, and I'm always looking for feedback. So you can always leave me a comment also down below. Let me know how I can improve and help you on your podcast journey. All right, sounds good? Guys, my name is Ozil. Till next time, peace and one love.